Welcome to Secrets of Investors, where we unveil secrets of most successful investors in Canada and the US. My name is Radovan Smolej, and today I have on the call Ed O'Daniel. He's a good friend of mine.
In the house.
He's a great friend of mine, full-time real estate investor, property manager, coach, and speaker. Welcome, Ed.
Thanks, Radovan. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you as well. It's been a long time.
For sure.
So, Ed, if you can maybe just add something, about yourself and your experience in real estate, and tell our listeners, what you do.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what, just real quick, can I go over my story here, just like other real estate investors? I came from an IT background. So I was an IT person. Now, for those of you who probably never seen me before, I am actually a disabled veteran. So I'm missing my right arm above my elbow, just above my right elbow. So that happened to me when I was 19 years old, when I was in the military. So you can understand that being 19 and no job skills whatsoever, you kind of have to start thinking a little bit differently, have to start thinking right out of the box in order to be competitive in the job market. So I told myself even back then that it's a matter of, you're never going to be able to compete with anybody physically ever again. You're always going to get beat. No matter how good I was, you're always going to be able to get beat, and that's just a fact. Just accept it. So the only way I could really have an advantage over people was to be smarter than they were, to know things that they didn't know, or be able to do things mentally that they couldn't do. So that's what kind of got me down the road of just studying computers, studying just networking, IT stuff. So I was a network engineer. I did LAN communications. I mean, I developed software for companies. I kind of did it all. And that was about 18 years. So for 18 years, I kind of did that. And then all of a sudden I went from consulting company to consulting company. I took full-time positions, and just nothing was really satisfying. It was always exciting in the beginning, and then it sort of burned yourself out. But probably in 2005 is when I started getting into real estate. 2005 is when I started picking up my first rental property. And this is just when me and my wife had some extra money, and we were just saying, well, we should invest in real estate because that's a good market. Now, if you guys remember the 2005 market, that was still a pretty hot market. So, I mean, that was getting into this business with no education. I would have to say, don't do that. First of all, don't do that. Don't get into the real estate market without some form of education, because believe me, you're going to pay for it. That is my lesson right there.
I agree with you, but say that if you were thinking too much or trying to get education, you may never start as well. So
no, I get you.
Just take action, makes sense, but then you need to get an education as well.
Right. Well, I mean, I started in the rental property business, so maybe I should have prefaced it with that. If you're going to get into rentals and understanding how much you pay for rentals versus how much you get for rent versus being a landlord, and there's a lot of education and compliance issues that you have to know about that kind of turned around and smacked me in the face the first couple of years. But anyway, you're right. If you're getting into real estate, just wholesaling and things like that, you could take action very quickly. But it's just the rental part that kind of kicked my butt. But anyway, that was pretty hot market. That house we really didn't make money on. We pretty much lost money on our first couple of rentals just because we bought them at the wrong price. In 2005 and 6, that was still a very strong housing market until we got to the 7 and 8 years where you started getting the bust years. But anyway, from 2005 on, I've been managing properties. I've been wholesaling. I've been rehabbing and so forth. But here recently, we've just, let me kind of finish up my IT story here. A couple of years ago, I've only been full-time for about 3 years now. And I wanted to get to a point. I wanted to be smart about it. I wanted to work at my job. I was very well paid, IT person. My job was not incredibly challenging where I ended up and landed. So we were able to work on my business part-time, took a little bit of extra effort, my real estate business. And then finally I was able to quit IT once I got to a point where I was able to get my bills paid off. I worked financially to kind of get things situated where I could go full-time. And I did have enough rentals that were bringing in enough money that could offset that. So anyway, that's kind of why I did it, because right now real estate gives me the freedom to kind of do the things I want to do. I don't have to go to an office. I could work just a few hours and make what some people make in a year, just off of this, just on one deal.
Plus you can spend more time with your family. I know you have 2 girls.
Two
correct?
girls, yeah, two teenage
Girls,
girls.
two
Please pray
teenage
for me,
girls.
everybody.
I know. Talking to you, I have only one teenage girl and one is 12. So but I'm going through same. You're going through double problems.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's so it's good. And right now we're just trying to like you just said, I'm trying to focus on just being here, enjoying the families, because we've only got maybe 4 years left, for 4, maybe 5 years for the girls in school. And then once they're out of school and they're off on their own, they're going to be doing their own thing. So, at that point, we're going to miss them. Like, we're going to miss all that kind of
I know.
teenage stuff.
I know my older one just moved she's 17 and she's already at the university in Vancouver. So she doesn't live in our house anymore. And it was hard, I tell you. It was really hard going through, when your daughter been with you for 17 years every day, and suddenly she moved out. So it was hard. We got used to it, but I'm happy that she's happy. So that all matters, yeah. So great. Going back to you, so you started in 2005. I know you did flips, you did wholesaling, property management. So what is your primary focus right now? What are your investment strategies that you focusing on right now in your business?
Right. Well, that's a good question here. So I'm actually based in St. Louis, Missouri. That's kind of my market space. And St. Louis is a very inexpensive housing market compared to the rest of the country, because we're sort of right in the middle of the country. We don't get the swings from the east and west coast property values and so forth. So that's kind of good and bad. We don't get the down swings of the market, but our market is a little bit more stable, but we've got a good rental market. So back in 2014, I actually decided to start a property management company. So right now I was managing my properties very well, was very successful at managing them. And a lot of my other friends were just telling me how much their property manager sucked, to be quite honest. It sucked. They couldn't fill this. Expenses are high. I mean, you just name it, everything that you can think of. But and I just kept trying to tell them, I don't have a problem. My rentals are going fine. They were just like, just saying, well, why don't you start managing our rentals? Why don't you start a brokerage? Because we have to have a full brokerage in the state of Missouri in order to manage properties. So I said, fine. So I started a real estate brokerage. We don't really do many listings except for our clients. Those clients that we do have that do flip properties, we give them a discount, if they go through us for the listing side, because they're already clients on the property management side. So there's another profit center there. But anyway, back from 2014, we started a property management company to start getting it to the point at the end of 2017, we actually stopped taking new clients. So we have enough sort of clients at this point to stabilize. We've got a couple of people working in that business and it's going well. It's profitable. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like you were saying earlier, it's not hugely profitable, but I'm getting to the point now where we're going to start doing turnkey rentals in St. Louis. And that's exciting for me. That's where I really want to start getting into, is help our clients and help people build rental portfolios. That's sort of what our goal was when we started the property management side, is to be a good, solid property management company that knew what you were doing and followed this, had good systems. But we're not looking to get big. I mean, we're looking to have a small group of clients that we can service. We're going to be profitable. They're going to have a good rental portfolio. And it was just like a little small family.
So you're really looking for or going to target out-of-state owners, correct?
Well, that's true. I mean, that's where a lot of our people come from, because of just, we've got people from Arizona, people from California who own properties that they just cannot buy properties in their market at a reasonable cash flow. I mean, the properties we have here are just crazy. We've got clients that buy some of our lower end properties, and lower end meaning they bought it from other turnkey providers. They might buy a property for like a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, renovated, meaning everything's pretty much up and working, for say $35,000, but it'll rent for $750.
Wow.
So I mean, that's a good enough return for most people.
In my market in Calgary, you can't even buy a doghouse for $35,000. So it's definitely, and I told you I'm definitely interested in look at your market and maybe park some of my money and invest in your market as well. If it makes sense, I would definitely, it's really exciting, and I'm glad to hear that you are another person I know that who is starting turnkey properties. And knowing you as a person, I know that you really always do what you say you're gonna do. So it's great.
Right. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And right now we just, we're the only company that I know about in St. Louis that actually has, from beginning to end, has the complete solution. So not only can we provide a property for you, but we can also manage it for you on the back end. We don't switch it where we're just selling you a property and then pushing you off to somebody else and hoping they do a good job for you. So, you stay within our same system, from being fixed up right into our management company.
Okay, so you really provide turnkey properties from start to finish. Okay,
correct.
And then you will be managing for those properties for your clients unless they decide to sell it, and then you help them with the sale as well. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. So you said that you've been investing since 2005. So you've done many deals. If you can look back and tell me about your best deal you've done. It doesn't need to be the deal that you made most money off, but could be because you've done something right for people, or you always remember some deals that they stand out from other deals. So can you share one deal?
Yeah, I mean, one that pops up here is I think her name was Maria, but she was an older lady. I mean, I got her, first of all, from a postcard campaign, like a home equity or high equity campaign, just with some postcards. She gave me a call, and she had this big, it was a good area of town, good area, but she had this 3-story historic home. It was already classified historic, but her and her family had been living there for 30, 40 years, but just her family didn't support her. She didn't have enough income. Her house was literally falling in, man. This, like, in the roof, she literally on the top floor, she had buckets, and all the rooms were just, the roof was leaking. She automatically knew where all the leaks were in the roof, but she had no way to get it fixed. I mean, she mortgaged her property out to the limit. She took a home equity line. She refinanced. She took all the money she could out of it, but basically she got to the point where she just could not afford it, and her family was, it's become risky to live there.
Wouldn't it be cheaper to get the roof fixed than pay for to buy so many buckets?
Well, buckets are pretty cheap here, buddy. Go to the dollar store and pick up a $1 bucket. But
no, I'm just kidding.
No, I got you. It was just, you can understand the mental stress of living in a house where you're not sure if it's going to snow. If it's snowing here, you got constant dripping. You don't know if you're going to fall through the floor. So this is one of those situations where I can just sat down and just literally listened to her for like 30 or 40 minutes, just go on and on. She was crying. And again, I wasn't making any offers at all with her yet. I was just merely listening to her story. I asked her to tell me about the house, tell me about her story. So she sat there for 30 or 40 minutes, just told me about her family, how she loved the house, and so many holidays that they spent in the property. But just right now, everybody's moved out. Nobody really wants to help support her, and just that she's in a situation where she wants to move someplace where she felt safer. And it was stressful for her every day, looking at the house, knowing that she couldn't get it fixed, and that she spent so many years and had so many memories in the house. So this is just one of those situations where, being a real estate investor, I was able to help her. I was able to get her moved into a different apartment, help her find an apartment for her to move into, help physically move her. So that was part of our deal when we picked up her house. This was we took all of her stuff out and moved it over, and had like 2 men in a truck, I think was the company we used, but they just moved all of her stuff over there, got her all moved in. And I mean, she was just extremely happy. And I mean, this is one of those transactions where we really didn't even have any money in. We took over the existing loan subject to, because she trusted us that much. She just let us make the payments. So, I mean, we were into this deal very, very little to get this property, to get it under contract. But that was probably not my best deal. Now, we ended up, believe it or not, I ended up just wholesaling that one here. And we made a good amount of money on wholesaling it. But the biggest thing was that she even just sat back and just gave me a call afterwards, just thanking me so much that how she could sleep so much better. Even if she was in this apartment, she just slept so much better, just knowing that the house was being renovated, was being taken care of, and it was being brought back up to where it was in her glory years, when her family was younger, and just how the house was all nice and fixed up. She was looking forward to it. So that was probably about my best deal. I mean, she was just really thankful.
And this is a great example. And especially, I get questions from many beginners investors saying, hey, what are you taking advantage of people? And we are not. We helping people in situation that nobody else would help them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good that you shared this example of your deal, because I talked to a few other investors, and nobody tells me, when I say, tell me about your best deal, almost nobody tells me about the deal that they made most money of. But the deal where they felt, hey, we helped somebody in situation, and we created a win-win situation. They were happy after, we were happy, and that's what you really remember. You don't remember how much money you made. You remember the feeling you had. And we do everything for feelings. Yeah, we feel good.
Yeah.
When you help somebody, you feel good that you help them, and you become friends. It's funny because I have my sellers. I'm friends with my sellers even after they sell the place to me. They even are on my Facebook. They even see how much I make for properties when I sell them. But they still friends with me because they understand. And I'm upfront, and I tell them everything how it works. I have nothing to hide. I'm not afraid. Yes, we need to make money in our business. Otherwise, we're not going to be in business.
Right.
But our goal is create win-win situation and help others. And that's when we feel good about it. And it's a good example you just told us about.
Right. And the biggest thing is, especially for new people about this, it's not about taking advantage of people. You should always consider yourself helpful. When you answer the phone, it's almost like, I kind of, here's how I answer my phone. Hello, this is Edward. How can I help you? That's how I answer my phone, no matter who's calling. Now, if I know the person, of course, I'll pick it up and talk to them directly. But that's how I answer the phone, because that's how I deal with people. I'm in the business of helping them. And if we can get to a situation where I can satisfy your needs and your requirements that you're looking for and meet my financial goal and my terms of what I'm looking to do in the house, then we can come to an agreement. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's about giving. Yeah, it's giving first, and it comes back to you 10 times more. They tell others about you, and people want to work with you because you do what you said you're gonna do, and you're not taking advantage of them.
Now,
Great.
I'll also give another helpful hint on this one. The lady was very, she was an elderly lady, had trouble walking. I mean, she gave me a video testimonial while we were there at the closing table. I showed up at her closing, and by the way, I covered all of her closing costs. So she came to the table with nothing. She didn't have to pay anything, but she didn't get anything at the same time because of just the deal that we struck. But again, I helped her move, but she gave me a video testimonial, and it was only about 40 or 45 seconds. But if I played that video in front of somebody of a little old lady just saying, thank you so much for what you did, you cannot buy that kind of publicity. You cannot buy that kind of goodwill when you go talk to somebody else. Those are the things that you should be getting when you help people out. Get a video testimonial, somebody helping them out. And man, when you go to do another deal with somebody else, you say, let me show you a few people that we've helped in the past. And man, when you get a little old lady up there that just, almost to the point where she's in tears, thanking you so much, you can't pay for that. I mean, that's a good closing video.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny you just said it, because I realized in my business that that's what I need to do. And I started, so after each closing, now I'm recording, talking to sellers, and they share experience with selling property to us. And I think that's the best testimonial you can get. And I even they even willing to provide their phone numbers to my new sellers, that they can call them and ask about us and how was the transaction, So that's, if you can do it with every client you have, your business will just skyrocket, by having those.
Yeah, I mean, just putting those up on your YouTube channel, having somebody take a look at it, absolutely. But I always recommend be there at the closing table. Know what day they're closing, what time they're closing. Be there right after they sign, because you're never going to get them in a more happier position than right there at the closing table. Don't wait a day. Don't wait a day. Get it right then. So.
Absolutely, that's the best moment. Correct. So that was your best deal. Now, being in the real estate and dealing with different people's situation or different kind of properties, you always get some crazy deals, or like people you or mostly you get crazy people, yeah, you deal with. No, they're all mostly. But so if you can share some either funny story, crazy story, anything that you remember that that it's like
Oh, I got to
you
tell you
you,
this
you,
one,
could,
man.
you,
It
you
was
couldn't
funny.
believe that it happened.
Here's the thing. This is when I kind of one of my first deals I did in wholesaling here was I was actually putting out bandit signs sort of in an area. This was a bandit sign lead, just we buy houses cheaply. And right now I got a call from this old gentleman. Okay. He owned a house. It was not a great house, maybe a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. Literally, I think it had 3 rooms, it's what we call it in St. Louis, what we call a shotgun house. Because all the rooms are, just right in a row. So it's just a front room, a middle room, and then a kitchen with a bathroom. That was literally it, and then maybe a little bit of a basement. But this guy he was kind of unique because he gave me a call and I came out to take a look at his house. Little brick house, flat roof, if you could think about it. Was the only one in the whole neighborhood. It just stood out as far as, man, this is a really ugly house. And I'm out there looking to potentially,
Did you tell him?
No, I didn't tell him. I told him it had challenges. Keep in mind, I'm not done yet. So he finally opens up the door and I walk through. I get to the first room and I get into the middle room and I just do this. I kind of look up and literally I could see the sky from the room. There was a big hole right in the middle of the roof that you can literally just look right up and just anything could fall right into it. It's just crazy. Big hole in the middle of the roof, just the floors, everything is all messed up. And he's calling me and want me to buy this thing. So I was talking to the old guy, and first of all, probably about 20 or 30 minutes into it, he asked me, he said, hey, could we go back out to my car? So he has a truck. He's an old guy and just had an old beat up truck. But this is the funny part. The guy actually sits back and takes beer breaks throughout the entire day. This is like 10 o'clock in the morning. So I get there and he gets in the car and he goes, I'm tired. I got to have a break. He has a cooler in the middle of his 2 seats built into his console. So he lifts the top up and has ice and has Busch beer sitting in there, 5 or 6 beers cooling at 10 in the morning, and then just cracks it open and starts drinking it in his car right there. So and I'm just like, okay, well, this guy's going to be kind of interesting to talk to. But I mean, this guy, he was just an older guy. He owned this house. He didn't want to keep coming over here and cutting the grass. And he just really wanted to get rid of it. He wanted to get the burden of having it off of his back. He didn't want to come cut the grass anymore. He didn't want to take care of it. So literally, I mean, just being the craziest deal. I mean, I put out bandit signs, cheap house for sale. This is back when didn't really have any buyers on my buyers list. I was just kind of advertising in a local quarter-mile area for a cheap house. Here's the deals on this one here. I sold that house for $1,500. That was the price that I sold it at. I got, I think, huge. I think I got $500 in a wholesale fee from that particular house just by finding a buyer for it, and ended up charging him. I think I paid him $50 for his house.
You paid $50? Okay.
He walked away from the closing table. I covered all of his closing costs, and he walked away with $50 and then thanked me for it.
I thought that you paid him with cases of beer.
But he was just the weirdest, kookiest guy that you could think of. I mean, he's just every 30 minutes, you have to go take a beer break in there. And just the fact that you've got a beer cooler right in the middle of it, I'm really surprised he hasn't gotten stopped because he drinks while I'm like, dude, that's dangerous, but all righty. But that guy was kind of like the most interesting deal. I mean, just trying to sell a house that has a big hole right in the roof of it. I mean, that in a sense is a challenge, as you can imagine.
But you did it, so it's good.
Yeah.
And you helped the guy. So and he got $50. So probably Busch is quite cheap beer. So maybe he got few beers.
The one thing I want to point out on this one, Radovan, is like it's more than just the $50. What else did we give him now? When I did that, I gave him peace of mind now that he doesn't have to travel 30 or 40 minutes from his current house over to this house twice a month. In the summer to springtime to cut this grass and make sure it's maintained. He doesn't have to do that anymore. So now he got peace of mind along with that $50.
Okay, great. Absolutely. That's why people willing to sell houses to us for cheaper, because they're looking for different terms. They want to get out. they don't want to deal with problems. It's over their head, and they basically pass their problems on our shoulders. And we are guys with problems after, and then you get home and your wife, well, like, you go crazy. Oh, we just bought another house. And
Well,
my
here's a
wife
good
tells me,
point too. Not only did you give the guy peace of mind, I use this kind of as a point to make is you always have a buyer for every property. I mean, here's a 1-bedroom, maybe 600 square feet, has a hole in the roof, and I'm just thinking to myself, what is this guy going to do with this property? I don't know, and I don't care. He's willing to pay X amount of money. I'm going to make a little bit off of it. It was one of those, like I said, first wholesale deals where you still kind of learn a little bit, but there's a property for everybody. I mean, regardless, somebody's willing to buy it as long as the price is right.
Yeah. Anytime I buy some house and I show it to my wife, she says, what the hell did you buy again?
What is wrong with you?
I wouldn't pay a penny for it. I said, well, that's what we deal with. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. If we can create value, that's when, and adding value, that's when we make most money. So
Exactly.
So you've been investing for a long time, and looking back at when you started, and you said you didn't know what you were doing, you had no education. So now, past basically 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
if you were starting again and you can give advice to anyone starting again, what would you do different?
What would I do different here? Well, if I was given advice now, if we're talking specifically about people investing in real estate,
Yes.
I start from the financial side initially. I'm like, what is it that you want out of your life? You're going to have to live. You're going to have some place to live, food to eat, car. I mean, there's some financial need that you have, but what is that need? Identify, the minimum need that you need right now, if that makes sense. And then see what we can do to fit that so you can live the life that you want. Because bottom line, if you can have a business that generates enough money for you to live off of, then you can kind of do whatever you want to with your life. Help people out, volunteer, and still know that you've got money coming in from your business that's going to cover your expenses. That's a feeling that very few people actually get to have, is knowing that, let's just say if it's rentals, you might have 50 rental properties that generate X amount of money for you, and you just know that you're going to have a property manager take care of those properties. You're going to get a check every month, and that check's going to pay for your expenses. And now you know that those 50 properties are yours for the rest of your life and your children's lives or whatever else. And now you've got something to pass down. So I would just kind of start with, right, just kind of, what is it that you want? To sit back and take a step, not what you need to do to make money. What is it that you want to do? And then trying to show people how they can make money based upon what they want to do. Sometimes real estate's it. Real estate could be a good investment strategy, to put your money into from a rental perspective, but maybe not everybody wants to do wholesale deals or flips. You see what I mean? But it's just a matter of, that's where I would start. I would just, that's what I tell my kids. I say, do something that makes you happy. Don't go to college. Don't do what everybody else tells you to do. Do what you love every day. What you get out of bed and you just enjoy doing, where you can sit back and just smile and says, this is what I get to do today again. Whatever that is. If it's being a doctor, great. Go to school and be a doctor. Whatever that is. But if it's not, do something different. Don't do something just for the money, because you're going to be miserable and your life will never be fulfilling.
Well, I agree with you, and it's a great advice. So imagine that, you lost all your money in business. And I know it's not going to happen. It may happen to anyone. Imagine you lost all money. You move to different city, you never been in this city. You don't know anyone there. You have no money, and you want to start investing in real estate. What would you do to get started?
Well, first of all, if I'm in a new city, I'm going to have to, in a sense, find a place to live. If it's just, again, I'm just assuming if it's me, my wife, and my 2 daughters, we're going to have some place to live. So that's the first part, establishing some place to live. But if I'm let's just say that you have a place to stay in now. It's just a matter of, you don't really have any extra money. You're trying to get started in doing your real estate business. The first thing I would do is start finding out, I'd start looking at the local, let me take a step back here. I would start using the education that I already have of knowing how to build a buyer's list. of knowing how to find people interested in buying properties, and then how to go out and target and find those properties for those people, that's where I would end up starting.
So you
Right,
build your buyers list first.
right. I wouldn't even, when you say build my buyers list, I wouldn't even look at building. I would find a buyer. Even if I went and just said, I just need to find one, maybe two people that are in the business of buying properties, and all I need to do is find them a property that meets their needs, and I can turn it and make $3,000-$5,000, and that's my first step, is to get that one deal done and find the next buyer. I don't need to find 10, 20, 50 buyers. I don't need to do that. I just need to find one or two and then find them a property initially. Make me some money, stick it in the bank, family feels good, do it again. Do it again and do it again based upon the marketing techniques that I already know about.
I agree with you. And I talk to many people and they say, well, we have thousands of people on our buyers list. And I said, why you need 1,000 buyers on your buyers list? You don't even have 1,000 properties. But then whenever they send property, nobody really buying.
Yeah.
And because you have no real buyer. You don't get few buyers and understand what they're looking for. Understand what they want.
Yeah.
Then go and find properties for them. But you need solid A buyers, A players, who, if you find them what they looking for, they're going to buy it. Not that somebody who subscribed to your website saying that they are buyer and they will never buy anything. It means nothing to have 1,000 subscribers or 1,000.
No,
buyers.
It doesn't.
Well, I agree with you. That's really, really great advice. So we are almost at the very end, but I know you as an investor, you always educating yourself, taking some courses, maybe going to RIA groups, seminars, and you reading books as well. So what is the best book that you ever read?
Here's my thing. If you're looking about the best book, I'm going to tell you the book that's probably affected me the most that I can remember. That's really going to be Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And to be honest, that happened way back in 2005, whenever I first got started. And the biggest change that I have to say is it really flipped my mind from just the way that book talks about, being able to have a positive attitude. Instead of saying, I can't do that, being able to turn that around to say, how can I do that? That mental change, that one little thing right there, when I read that book and just read the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that right there is what really shifted my mental focus the most that I can remember. Now, there's been a lot of other books, online marketing books, just leadership books that I've read, but none that can really, I go back and have like that aha moment where I could sit back and say that it's really changed me mentally and changed my shift and focus that much.
Oh, okay.
Which is why when I go out, I speak at different, I give back at this point, so right now I've gotten so much knowledge over the years and done so much. I want to help other people. So that's why I speak. I'm a content speaker for other national RIA groups. I go out and I give back. I give information to people. As a matter of fact, part of my thing is I give books while I'm there. And of course, I always have some Rich Dad, Poor Dad books to give them. And those people that answer questions, I don't charge them for it. Those are giveaway. Those are my giveaways. And I go for people being involved and asking questions. So I say, hey, that's a great question. Get your butt up on here and get a book. Pick out a book and educate yourself. So that's kind of one of the things I do.
Okay, great. So how can our listeners to get in touch with you, or maybe if they want to get you speak at their events or maybe RIA groups, what's the best way to get hold of you?
No, excellent. Well, right now I'm heavy into social media. So right now, Edward O'Daniel, St. Louis, Missouri. Friend me. This is the mug that you'll see on the profile picture. But friend me on Facebook. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Go to edwardodaniel.com. You can just use a contact page right there. You can also look at several of the webinars that I've already recorded. There's a lot of training on there from wholesaling, lease options, things like that I've recorded in previous webinars that you can go take a look at. But I'm pretty much accessible all the way. I mean, you could probably even find my cell phone if you just Googled it. It's probably out there enough. I mean, just give me a call. So I'd love to be able to give back. That's one of the things that I truly enjoy. And
I will share your contact information below, so people can reach out to you, and maybe you can help them with either starting investing, maybe with their property management, or maybe buying turnkey property. So
no, exactly it. And rather than, that's the whole point. I mean, right now you mentioned earlier about just having a few clients, and that's what we've got in our property management company. I mean, we've got 60 or 70 clients that own rental property. They want to buy more and they want us to manage it for them. So it's a great, I mean, it's like you've got a built-in buyers list. They're already familiar with you. They already love you because you're taking good care of their existing rental portfolio. They're just good. They're built-in buyers. They just want to buy more. You just have to ask them what they want and then give it to them. So I'm looking at 2018 being a great year, brother.
Wow, we will. And I'm really excited learning about your business and really connecting with you again. And I definitely want to get a hold of you and talk more about buying some rentals in Missouri.
Awesome, brother. Love to be able to chat with you here. It's good to catch up with you.
Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.
All right, take it easy, Radovan. See you, brother.